The secret to calming your child's anxiety. For parents who've tried everything. And you're not alone. Most children go through phases in their lives when they feel more anxious. And actually, those that are more sensitive, that feel everything more intensely, will feel their anxiety more intensely as well. And then many children are more anxious right now after the last few years which has been very unsettling for all of us. And their increase in anxiety is actually a normal response to what has been a stressful time. I can help you to stop feeling like it's your fault. As parents, we feel responsible so often, especially when things get tricky. You do have influence and you can improve life for your child. And in doing that, you and your child become closer. My name is Kim McCabe and I'm the founder-director of Rites for Girls CIC, where we run girls groups, 2 programs, one Girls Journeying Together, where we offer monthly support to preteen girls as they practice being true to themselves, they learn about puberty, they share their hopes and fears and help each other into and through their teens. And then there's GirlsNet, an online program which provides guidance and camaraderie through times of challenge to small groups of same-age girls, anywhere between 8 and 18, in weekly online sessions over 6 weeks. The mentors offer tools for coping well, and the girls access their own inner resources while realising that they're not alone. And we train women at Rites for Girls to facilitate both of these 2 programs, Girls Journeying Together and GirlsNet, whilst also supporting the girls' mothers. And trainees become the women that they needed in their lives when they were 11 years old, and at the same time are provided with meaningful work that fits around other commitments and enables them to serve in a diverse range of communities, bringing back the power of community in a way that appeals to today's girls. I'm an author of several books, one of them From Daughter to Woman, Parenting Girls Safely Through Their Teens, and a number of mother-daughter date diaries, including a unisex version, because whilst our focus at Rites for Girls is about the girls, we're not just about the girls, boys need us too. I'm a mother myself of 2 boys and a girl, and I work with parents of boys and girls. This tool or process that I'm going to share with you can be used for lots of different parenting challenges, but to give it a go, if you could just pick one so that we can think it through together and you can end up with a plan. Then you can repeat it for other issues. So all you'll need is 10 minutes of your time, pen and paper, or you can print off the exploration sheet that you can download from this page. And you need some self-belief. I think all too often us parents, when we run into difficulties, we forget that actually we are the experts on our children, and we know, really, when we give ourselves time to think about it, we know what we need to do. So let's start by picking a situation. Pick a typical time when your child is anxious. Just trust whatever comes into your head and allow yourself to see it in your mind's eye, to remember, take yourself back to that time. Pause this video and just write down a description of a typical situation. Now I want you to ask yourself, how do you feel? When your child is anxious, take yourself back to this typical time and ask yourself, how was it for you at that time? What feelings did it trigger in you? Tune into your inner voice. What were you saying to yourself? And then also, how did you feel afterwards? It might be dependent on how you responded in that situation, but how do you feel when your own child is anxious? Pause the video and just jot down a couple of thoughts on this. Now let's take our attention to your child. So imagine how your child might have been feeling in that situation, both at the time and also afterwards. Pause the video and jot down your thoughts about your child's feelings. Let's now think about what doesn't work. First of all, start with making a list of everything you've tried, the good, the bad, and the muddled up. And then rate it for how well it helped. Give it a number between maybe 1 and 5 for how effective it was in that situation at managing your child's anxiety. And then I'd like you to add to that list everything that you know or you imagine would make it worse. Allow some humour in here, and add in things that you might never in another world even think of doing. So pause the video and just write down some thoughts about what doesn't work in this situation. Now let's turn our attention to what might help. Ask yourself first of all, what does your child most need in this typical situation when they're feeling anxious? Remember, you're the expert of your child. You know them really well. And then I want you to think about, what do you need? Because for us to do our best parenting, we need to be well-resourced ourselves. So for you to be able to give your child what they need, what do you also need? And then give some thought to how are you going to remember. I think so often when we're in a stressful situation, all our best thoughts go out the window. So what would help you to remember what your child needs and how you can give that to them? Pause and just jot down those thoughts. So to summarise, start with how you feel, then imagine how your child is feeling, and those will then guide you towards what will help. It will also give you some insight into what won't help. Let me tell you about Sarah. She was having difficulty getting to school. She used to really love school, but just recently hadn't wanted to go, and she couldn't say why. Back at the start of term, the mornings were a nightmare for the whole family. Sarah hadn't wanted to get up, dress, eat breakfast. Everything was a battle. The school were great, actually. They welcomed her in even if she was late and assigned a TA to meet her and see if they could help her put into words what was making her not want to go to school. But in the end, it was her mum who came to me, and we went through this process. So rather than getting exasperated and anxious herself, her mum watched and listened to Sarah for a couple of mornings, and that gave her a clue as to what Sarah most needed from her. So first, Sarah's mum noticed that the drama every morning was making her anxious. She was getting worked up beforehand. And actually that can sometimes be a really good clue for us parents as to how our children are feeling. The feelings that they can often trigger in us, that their behaviour triggers in us, can give us a clue as to perhaps how they might be feeling themselves. So instead of trying to puzzle out what was going on for Sarah, her mum just tried to give her what she seemed to need, which was just to take the pressure off and slow down. And she noticed that in the morning Sarah would start to get dressed, but then her clothes were wrong, or her hair was wrong, or she'd sit in front of her breakfast and not seem to be able to eat it. It was like she wanted to go to school, but also she couldn't. And so Sarah's mum started by just putting into words what she noticed. I can see that you start to get ready for school, and then something about it gets difficult. And then it all came pouring out. Sarah's best friend had made a new friend and they were leaving her out. Maths wasn't making any sense, and a boy was bothering her at school. And just telling her mum helped. And she started to figure out what she could do to manage this overwhelm of feelings, to manage this anxiety in the mornings that made it so hard to get into school. But it made sense with all that was going on. So she started to figure out who she could ask for help with the maths and what to say to the boy. And also came to realise that friendships change, so thought about what to do at lunch if she found herself alone. And Sarah's mum was reminded of what it was like for her when she was Sarah's age, and understanding Sarah's worries helped her mum to be patient in the mornings, knowing that Sarah's worries were real and justified, and sometimes she was just going to feel reluctant to go to school for good reason. And at those times what Sarah most needed from her mum was not to be pushed, but instead to be listened to and held instead. So give it a go. Start small, start with something that's going to be easy to tackle, and then be patient with yourself. I know sometimes when I want to learn a new tool, I want to have mastered it before I've even given it a go. And then just notice the small changes. Notice how it does start to affect things when you change your focus onto what does your child need in that moment, but what do you need also in order to be able to give your child what they need. If you'd like the opportunity to think about how to do your best parenting in times of difficulty, then take a look at my online parenting course. It's for parents who want to enjoy parenting even in times when it's challenging, and will help you to give your children a sense of calm and safety. Also to give them tools for managing their big feelings, their increased anxiety or frustration or disappointment. And for you to figure all of this out in a supportive community of parents. There are lots of practical tips and tools that you can put into use straight away. It also gives you a chance to pause and figure out the best way forward for you and your family so that everyone feels better, even through times of difficulty, whether the challenge be in the world or within your family or for just one person in your family, because everyone's affected. I'll share with you what 30 years of working with children and their parents has taught me works well in times of difficulty. And it will give you some space to use what I share with you and to adapt it to your unique situation. You're the expert on your children and on your family situation, and I'd like to help you make the most of your expertise. You can find details of my online parenting courses in the shop on our website, ritesforgirls.com, and there's a money-back guarantee if you try it and it's not for you. If you're interested in our programs for girls, you can find out about them on our website, ritesforgirls.com. We have 2 programs. One is in person and one is online. Girls Journeying Together is an in-person program for girls who are in Year 6 or Year 7 as we support them in that transition across from primary to secondary school, just as they're entering puberty, and set them up for a supportive travel through their teens. And then we have GirlsNet, which is an online program which is 6 weeks long. Again, small groups of girls, this time anywhere between 8 and 18, but girls will be in groups of their same age. So if you're interested in either of those, then you can find out a lot more on our website. If you'd like to train with us, we'd love to hear from you. We have 2 training programs. One is in person for Girls Journeying Together facilitators, and this takes 2 years. And the other training is a 6-month program online for our GirlsNet mentors. Again, you can find out more about those on our website, ritesforgirls.com, and you can sign up for a free webinar where you can meet the trainers, meet each other, and hear a lot more about the training. If you'd like to find out more about our girls groups, our training, or our support for parents, then visit our website where you'll find lots of information and little videos from the girls themselves who've been on our programs or the women who we've trained, and downloadable information to give you details of the training and of our girls groups. Or you could email us at info@ritesforgirls.com or find us on Facebook or Instagram. And in any case, I hope you found this mini process that we've just gone through together has been useful. Give it time and notice the little shifts and build on what you find works for you. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to meet you on another course soon. Bye now.